Ozzy hand. Is this completely busted?
Keeping on 5 immediately scries to the bottom. He's looking for one thing. We get into the match. He'll start on Urborg.
Urborg into Hoogland actually does not enable Thought-Knot Seer because you can't generate colorless mana.
Yeah, it discounts colorless, but you're right. And a play here, Jeremy's going to go ahead and dismember Jeff's turn 1 Birds of Paradise.
It's a lot of life, but, you know, I'd happily gut shot a birds every time, so I think that line is fine.
I think the test here is whether or not Jeremy's hand allows him to play Magic. He'll go for a 1-1 Endless One.
Would you consider playing a 1-1 for 1 playing Magic?
I don't think I want to make a 1-1 Endless One, and then even if I have no other plays, but yeah, that's one of the Wall of Roots from Jeff will shut that down.
Yeah, Wall of Roots or, you know, literally anything in his deck. There is the Hoogland, but just a Mimic to follow it up.
Did have Hoogland, that's big with the Mimic. Gives him some game.
Notably, if Zimmer had waited a turn, this Endless One would be a 4-4 here. There'd be no difference in the amount of lands that he had to tap.
Yeah. Jeff would be at the same life total. Here's Mutavault. He has 5 mana. Could play Reality Smasher this turn if he had it.
That'd be big.
And isn't that? And he has it. This is just why this deck is so stupid. That.
Yeah.
I mean. All right, Jeff's going to Lightning Helix the Eldrazi Mimic before it gets a chance to turn into a 5-5. But if Jeff doesn't have that kill spell here, then maybe Jeremy even wins despite being on 5 cards, bricking on lands 2 turns.
The more this game progresses, I think that Jeremy was feeling pretty upset, expecting this game not to go his way. The fact that he drew that Hoogland and the fact that he had already cast the Endless 1-on-1 is looking like it might actually matter.
Yes, I agree. I mean, it's just, as a 1-1, it's just not a card.
Right.
He just discarded a card.
And speaking of discard, you know, that's the only reason you have to force action that's not palatable is because you would have to discard a card of your end step anyway. You know, he mulliganed to 5. He didn't have 8 cards in hand. He just did something he didn't have to do.
Exactly. Keep in mind that Ghost Quarter on Jeff's side will get a basic, even though Jeremy is a colorless deck. He does play 2 copies of Wastes.
Yeah, you definitely go ahead and pull the trigger on that. We've already seen Jeremy miss a land drop previously, so well out of range of doing most of the best stuff in his deck without additional lands from here.
Yeah, that brings him from 5 mana back down to 3.
It's actually 6 down to 3 because their Urborg is in play. Yeah, so that Ghost Quarter is huge. Or no, it is 5. You're right, you're right.
Jeff will Ghost Quarter and just pass the turn. You see Path to Exile, Birds of Paradise in Jeff's hand. If he's not making Birds of Paradise, Jeff has something else in mind. Perhaps he wants to discard it so that he can Path to Exile the Reality Smasher.
Yep, definitely a possibility.
Activates Mutavault, swings the team.
Okay, I think casting creatures instead of using the path this turn, dealing with that Reality Smasher in some capacity.
It's going to be Restoration Angel flash into play for Jeff. The Angel will eat the Mutavault. The Wall of Roots will block the 1-1, and Smasher will hit Jeff down to 8.
Okay. Yeah, so he saves some damage with this play as well. Still at a reasonable life total, and of course Jeremy is a bit off from casting a second Reality Smasher, and he has an answer to the first one.
For Hoogland, it looks like he drew a copy of Big Game Hunter, and Jeff originally thought he couldn't play it, but then he looks at the lands and realizes that Jeremy has played an Urborg.
That's wild.
And Jeff able to hard cast the root. That's so huge right now.
Tap to fetch land and everything.
And you know, I was going to say, he drew, it's like, oh, this is unfortunate. Jeff can't play his double black card.
Also, if he discarded it to path, it wouldn't kill the Endless One.
Wow. And that Urborg may have just sealed it up for Jeff. An activated Mutavault and a swing with Endless One. Jeremy's going to try for that.
Yeah, he's really just flailing at this point. I think that this game is
the Reality Smasher was what it was all about.
Right.
Jeff goes to 9. Swing in for 3 from Jeff. Puts Jeremy at 9. And we'll pass back.
To be fair, Jeff's hand doesn't look to be committing too much additionally in the way of threats. Dismember took care of the Restoration Angel, so now Jeff only has 1 power in play.
Cost Jeremy no life points. He also can use the Urborg profitably.
Right.
You keep going back to that 1/1 endless one, though, where it's just...
Well, actually, if we back up a couple of turns, when Jeff just cast the Big Game Hunter, if he used the Path to Exile on the Smasher, he would have got to cast that for a black off of the Urborg and kill the 4/4 endless one.
Sure. I mean, well, it's all the same, right? Jeff still has a path in hand then?
Right.
That Path to Exile should cover any outs Jeremy has. Draw of Court of Calling from Jeff is big here, too.
Yeah, it's a little less impactful now that the Restoration Angel has hit the bin, but, I mean, it's generally the best card in his deck.
Yeah, you mentioned Jeff only 2 power in play, but Jeremy only 5 life points. How does Jeff want to close it out? He'll just pass the turn.
I imagine that we'll see Jeff find Pia and Kieran Nalar.
Sure, that's a great way to end out the game.
Yeah, it'll give him lethal. Yeah, Jeremy has a Mutavault to block with, I guess, but
well, Jeff
certainly over 2 turns.
Jeff can swing the Thopters and then throw both the Thopters.
Right. Does he have enough mana for that?
He does.
Okay.
I believe.
I think he has 5 mana total. So I think he's 1 shy.
Thought Not Seer is going to be the play from Jeremy. Jeff will respond. Court of Calling for 4. Tend to agree. Look, see if it is PN Kieran Nalar. He also has Restoration Angel, Obstinate Baloth. Oh, he can use Kiki Jiki because he can tap and use mana from the Wall of Roots.
I was actually thinking it was possible he could get Restoration Angel on Big Game Hunter and kill the Thought Not Seer, but getting Kiki Jiki and copying it's pretty good too.
Thought Not Seer will resolve. Path to Exile is taken out of Jeff's hand.
Kiki Big Game Hunter is actually kind of a hard lock against Jeremy's creature draws.
Now, on end step, Jeff will make a copy of Big Game Hunter, shoot down the Thought Not Seer. Now, because it's on end step, Jeff gets to untap with this copy.
Yeah, and Jeremy is on 5, so that extra 1 power body matters.
And here's Kasali Pride Mage. Just Big Game Hunter, the Big Game Hunter token will swing. Jeff's going to roll this one out at a slow pace.
Yeah, there's no reason to get super aggressive. Jeremy is just going to block this with the Mutavault, presumably. I guess not. But there's no reason to get aggressive with the Kiki Jiki. Oh, the Pride Mage is why we didn't see the Mutavault block. It would just trade with the land. So Jeremy's still shy on casting Reality Smasher. It wouldn't be good enough to win this game even if he had it, though. There's still that Kiki Jiki Big Game Hunter.
And here's Ensnaring Bridge from Jeremy. This is a card out of his sideboard I wouldn't have expected to have come in here.
Right.
It certainly isn't going to work here. Jeremy casts it. Jeff will make a copy of Kasali Pride Mage, sacrifice the copy to shoot down the Ensnaring Bridge.
That choice is quite odd to me. He's supposed to be the big creature deck. It doesn't seem like he can win any games with Ensnaring Bridge in play when the bridge is actually good against Jeff.
I mean, when Jeff's winning, the board starts to look like this, and then Jeff will, of course, always find something like that to blow it up. Either way, the game will go to Jeff Hoogland, so 2-1. He wins his first test against Carlos Eldrazi and moves to 5-0 on the tournament.
Yeah, we saw Jeremy mulligan pretty low to a hand that did have to pass instead of playing a second land, so maybe not the most difficult test for Jeff, but he did at least dodge the deck. He beat the deck, so, you know, he's up to 5-0 start, so probably feeling pretty good about that.
So for that, Jeff Hoogland